Together, we're making the best tasting, healthier birthday cake cottage cheese ice cream without an ice cream maker. It's healthier and higher in protein with cottage cheese that's blended smooth and creamy. We're making a mini portion of buttercream frosting to ribbon throughout the ice cream. Then we're mixing in pieces of actual Funfetti birthday cake that's made gluten-free with almond flour, and it takes less than 2 minutes to cook in a mug in the microwave. This ice cream is fun to make and even more fun to eat. We're gonna start by making our really simple Funfetti mug cake. So we're gonna start with a small bowl and add 1 egg, 2 tablespoons of cane sugar, you could use regular white sugar, 1 teaspoon of oil, and my favorite is light olive oil, a ½ teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then we'll mix this together just until they're well combined. And I'm using my mini whisk for my mini cake. Then we can add 1/3 cup of almond flour, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 2 pinches of salt, and a teaspoon of sprinkles. Then we'll mix all of this together just until it's well combined. And then we're going to use a microwave safe mug that can hold at least 8 to 10 ounces of liquid. And I'm going to just spray it really well with some non-stick. And then we simply pour our batter inside. And then I like to add a few more sprinkles just to make sure it's extra colorful. Next, we want to put this in the microwave for anywhere between 1 minute and 30 seconds and 2 minutes, depending on your microwave. I have found that 1 minute and 50 seconds works great with mine. Well, here is my baked Funfetti cake that I just took out of the microwave. Now you want to be careful though, because it is going to be very hot. I'm just going to take a thin knife and run it quickly around the cake to make sure it can come out easily. And I'll just dump it out onto a plate. You can see how adorable that is, and it smells so good. To cool this off as quickly as possible, I'm just going to put this into my freezer while we make the frosting as well as the ice cream. Now we can make a mini portion of that iconic blue buttercream frosting. I'm going to start with 2 tablespoons of butter, and you'll want it to be room temperature. Then I'll add 2 teaspoons of milk. Next I'll add ½ teaspoon of vanilla extract and a pinch of salt, and then about 7 drops of some all-natural blue food coloring. But you could use any color that you like. And then I'll add 2/3 cup of some powdered cane sugar. You could also use regular powdered sugar. And then I found it works best to just take a spatula and just kind of start mashing it all together. Now we want the frosting to be soft enough that we could easily kind of drop it into our ice cream. And as is, it's a little bit on the thick side. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a ½ teaspoon of milk and mix that in. This consistency is just right because we want it to be able to fall off our spatula so that we can drop it into the ice cream. And then we'll just set this aside. Now we're going to quickly mix together our cottage cheese ice cream, and you could use an upright blender or a food processor like I am. We're going to start with 1½ cups of cottage cheese, and you can use small curd, large curd, low fat, non-fat, whatever your preference, but I prefer using the full fat to get the creamiest texture. And then we're going to add 1/4 cup of maple syrup as our natural sweetener, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and a pinch of salt. And then we'll simply put on our lid and then blend it until it is smooth and creamy and we no longer see any of those little cottage cheese curds. And then halfway through, you'll want to go through with your spatula and then scrape down the sides just to make sure you don't miss any of those little curds. Well, that looks perfect. Now to assemble our ice cream, you'll want to use a shallow dish or bowl. And then we can simply pour our ice cream into it. And then I'll just spread it around with my spatula. And now we can take our blue frosting and then just spoon it down on top. And we just want to kind of roughly spread it across the ice cream. I love seeing those ribbons of blue frosting throughout the ice cream. So as we mix this together, we want to be careful not to overmix it. So I'm just going to take my spatula and kind of go in and scoop to the bottom and then just kind of flip the ice cream over. And then I'll just very gently do this throughout the ice cream. So if we stir it too much, then the entire ice cream will become a light blue, which would also be very beautiful. Now that our Funfetti cake has cooled off in the freezer, we can go ahead and cut it into some bite-sized pieces. So I'm just going to slice it into these 1/2-inch chunks. And then we can drop those right on top of our ice cream. Like I said, this is almost as fun to make as it's going to be to eat. Now I'll take another little handful of some sprinkles and add those on top. Now I'll come back with my spatula and then just do a few flips to get those cake pieces down inside the ice cream. Well, that looks so good, but I think it needs just a few more sprinkles because everything's better with sprinkles. Now this is ready to go into the freezer for about 2 to 3 hours or until nice and firm. Well, here's a batch I made yesterday and then allowed to freeze overnight. Now, cottage cheese ice cream is a little different than traditional ice cream in that it will become completely hard when it's frozen. But all you have to do is take it out of the freezer and allow it to sit on your counter for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then it will thaw gradually and then be perfectly creamy and easy to scoop. I have a bowl here that I allowed to thaw for about 15 minutes, and it is the perfect texture for eating. Crunchy. That tastes incredible. That is seriously so good and has all the flavor of a Funfetti birthday cake. Now, of course, this is a treat and needs to be eaten in moderation, but I love knowing that I'm eating something with clean, natural ingredients that's high in protein and will leave me feeling just as good even after I enjoy it. I love being able to share my creatively healthy recipes so that you can enjoy them too. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today in my kitchen, and I've included a link in the video description below to the full recipe, which is on my website, gentletummy.com. And I also invite you to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you know someone else who you think would love this recipe, please share this video with them. And I cannot wait to have you hang out with me again in my kitchen.